All right, we'll go through quickly things, brief allusions over here. Explaining.
Are we going back to the conclusion of the Mama?
No. We're concluding the Maimer. Okay, we're on page Nun Beis, and a few lines below the middle of the top section. And the line begins with the word Bechinas Yesod. she-haya gilu Bechinas Yesod. she-haya gilu Bechinas Yesod. I was asking to explain why by Noach it says Posel Zorishain. Eil Tilas Noach says Posel Zorishain, that this is to distinguish it, Noach's beginning of Noach to everything that preceded it. So there's ever asked why break away from the Rishonim? The Rishonim were also beginners at tikun. Generally, we know that there is tohu and tikun, and tohu and tikun do not mesh. And in order to go into tikun, you have to complete cut off from tohu. But the Jewish Rishonim prior to Noach were also beginners at tikun. So why by Noach begins a totally new beginning and Posel Rishonim? So he explains. In tikun itself, there is also madrigas. The principle of yesod we discussed briefly last time. Principle of yesod is a principle difference between tikun and tohu. Tohu, where each thing occupied its own place, and there was not a central common reference, and everything went its own way. In tikun, there is a central common, and this is the yesod. Yesod means the foundation, the nakuda. So, asking the 10 generations prior to Noach, there were also great tzaddikim, and there was in Hatikun, from the Yesod. So how come you say Noach cuts off? Because he says, Hine bozeh yesh gankim madrigas. Within this general principle, that the reason you Yesod in Hatikun, there is also madrigas. As for example, to illustrate different areas, Gilui hahaskola. In general speaking, the union of tikun is when it comes to the sechel. There is a process, an organized process. So in Gilui hahaskola, there is also different. Gilui hahaskola, there is a gilui when the haskola comes to expression. Who bechinas yesod the abba. This is what's representing the yesod, the abba, the yesod of chokhmah. Which of course I'll just finish one more word. Again, this is not the focus of the Maimon, and we're just going to explain some of the principles brought out. You saw the Abba, and we discussed many times the phenomenal thing in Chokhmah. That even though Chokhmah is a global view, so to speak, a dynamic view of the Ayin of the sechel, yet in Chokhmah there is the sense that it's coming from someplace. In other words, there is a yesod, there is a foundation, and how that foundation develops. Even though there isn't the process, the bina process, there's an element, a procedural element in Chokhmah. And Haskalah, Gilui Haskalah, the way Haskalah is being perceived when it becomes recognized, is in from Yesod the Abba. Like we say that Haskalah, Gilui Haskalah comes in the form of a Borog HaMavlik. Borog HaMavlik means that it's a spark that just sparkles, but it doesn't sparkle all the time. This spark comes through after great concentration where you seek this particular inyan. So therefore there is inyan from the fundamental inyan that is being sought. This is called yesod the abba. But this is also bechinas ha'ora lavat. This is only the ha'ora of the essence that it reveals. V'hainu, which means the hagiluyim shekedem Noach. It means that the giluyim that preceded Noach, they represent the yichud chitzoni, an external view, which is only ha'ora. This principle, we discussed, I think, quite extensively, and the principle is that there is not the real thing. There is only the illusion, the effect, the sensation, but not the real thing itself. This is ha'ora. The Noach himshe bechinas yichud pnimi de abba. And Noach grew and revealed in the world the bechina of yichud pnimi de abba. Yichud pnimi de abba. Bechinas shefa atzmius, which is a shefa of atzem, of atzmius. Again, yichud chitzoni, even though it's avo, it's chokhmah and bina, nevertheless, yichud chitzoni is only, I said, only ha'ora, only an allusion to the inyan. Therefore, it is something that comes by observation, by external observation. There isn't the reality there behind it. Yichud pnimi, therefore, this is something which is being forced out from inside. This is shefa atzmus. You see it not because you discovered it and you were able to identify it, but because it's a etzem, it's a fundamental truth. That's what yichud pnimi, the shefa atzmus. Ve'al kein posel zo rishen. And this is why, when it comes to Noach, posel zo rishen cut off from the previous one, because it has to start with a new beginning.
Not that I know anything what these terms mean, but didn't we say like the yichud gashmi is the yichud of zun, and this is kind of the panemius, this is the real thing. Here we're talking about
because in yichud gashmi there is the etzem.
So this is not what's Noach's bringing down the yichud panimi of abba is not what we. That's not the nimshal for what we've been talking about for the.
This is the nimshul, but this is on lower level. This is the higher level. Main thing, and this is the etzem of abba, which is even higher than the inyan from Zul. Must you? Go ahead.
I mean, maybe it's the same question Yesod is asking. We're saying now, in effect, that Noach was mamshir this, which previously we said the Shamas Yisrael. Right. Shamas Yisrael are mamshir.
So we're saying Noach and mamshik with.
Noach is like a precursor to the Shamas Yisrael, or they're contained within him.
Right. This is right. This is the precursor to the inyan from Torah mitzvahs.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
This is the precursor to the inyan of Torah mitzvahs.
So even before, in other words, to a certain extent, we say, if there wouldn't be a person in the world, if there would be a unit in the world wouldn't have various atzmim.
Right.
Noach actually accomplished this prior to Matan Torah.
Yes. Didn't accomplish it. He started the process.
He started the process with Ayin mitzvah.
Remember, he went through a mabul.
Right. And he was Makabel's Ayin mitzvah.
Right. Ve'al kein posel is a rishen, and therefore posel is a rishen. Posel, the word posel loshen pseis. Posel means, as we said, cuts off, and the reason he cuts it off is because the rishen are like pseila. Pseila means a refuse. K'mei psal lecha, psiloson shelcha. Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, Hashem told him, psal lecha, you should cut out no luches, and the expression there, psal lecha. So he said, psal means because every time you cut a stone out of a mountain, there's going to be shreds that fall off. And that psela, this is cannot be used for the intentional rock, but because this is from precious stone, therefore the psela is also valuable. So psela is yeshulcha.
This word is not connected at all with the word puzzle.
It is connected with what possible.
With the word puzzle meaning,
refuse.
Invalid.
Puzzle, invalid, because it goes into the refuse, into the bin. Hainu shehein bechinas psoiles. This is to denote that everything preceded Noach, they are in the quality, in the category of psoiles. L'gabe hashefa pnimi is the Noach. Relative to the shefa pnimi is to the internal and the fundamental shefa of Noach. V'zehu. And this is what Zohar says, that Noach it starts a new beginning, because do ovi tuldin v'lo yachid. This the toildis. Toildis means that there is tuldin, there is offspring. This creates offspring. V'lo yachid. He can have tuldis because the principal tuldis bechinas giluyim eres atzmi. Toilus means that there is giluyim, a continued effect, but that is only by iris atzim, not the real tuldi. Just the ha'ora is not the toil. The iris atzim, this is himshich neya davkit. Only Noach started this whole process. Zehu eil til des Noach, and thus this is the pshat in this posik. Eil til des Noach. Dos and shall tzadikim hey mitzvahs u'masim tei. But what is in fact the toildos, the offspring and the creation of tzadikim is mitzvahs u'masim tei, because Shemamshichim bechinas yichud pnimi de'avot, because they grew up into the world. Yichud pnimi de'avot. This is the real. This substantiates the world into a reality. Ve'alzen ne'emar, and thus this is in describing this effect and this accomplishment. The pasuk says, "Noach Beis b'yomim." Noach is repeated twice. What is the twice, as we already explained? Shezehu iker ha'hamshoch. The fact that there is a second Noach, this is the principal aim on the whole hamshoch that Noach accomplished. Shehim shebechinas naicho habeis, that he brought down the second naicho, bechinas tainago atzmi, the tainag atzmi, which is the initial source of everything, the etzem. Zehu do davko avitulin. This is what the Zohar says. Do davko. This neyach davko exclusively avitulin. This creates tulin, because tulin means not a haora but a real presence. Shezehu yikir hatulin ve'agilu atzmi. Because tulin means agilu atzmi, not just an effect. All right.
Why doesn't Giluim Iris Atzmir? Let's suppose this using why the terminology is Giluim Iris Atzmir as opposed to just focusing on an etzem, as Magat. That Noach, through the marvel, what have you, he was Mekushit this Atzmir. Why Giluim Iris Atzmir? It's a fundamental question, basically.
This question is constantly coming up. We miss a very important principle. The etzem itself, you do not. Why it says Giluyim Oiros Atzem, not the etzem? Why don't you grab God Himself? Why Giluyim of God? God the Giluyim. Haman, Russia, wanted to rise on the human ladder, and he was rising. He was given all kinds of opportunities to rise. He became prime minister, and then beyond prime minister. Then he became Mishnah Melech, and he was elevated above all the other ministers. And then the king asked him, "What is your advice? What is the appropriate way to honor somebody that I wish to honor, that the king himself wishes to honor?" So Haman says that the king wishes to honor. How can the king honor? He makes him king. This was his downfall. The king wishes to honor. You are still just an underling. He says they should bring in Vush Malchus a royal garment and a royal horse, and alluding the one who wears the crown. The horse and the garments of the one who wears the crown. He didn't dare say, put the crown on. But he was alluding to that. I really want the crown.
This was his downfall. He asked for it on himself. Mordechai received that and had no downfall.
Mordechai didn't receive that. He put a crown on him, an honor crown. Not Keser Malchus. Hashem Yatan Keser Malchus v'roishe. That was Haman's allusion. Many people are honored by The king puts a crown, a regular crown, a decoration, a decorative crown, not a crown, not a royal crown. Nobody can wear a royal crown. Now that we got into this, and we actually dug into this question, let's understand the principle behind it. Yes, indeed, it's a chutzpah, it's a terrible rebellion, it's disregarding. What's the principle behind it? We're saying all the time that in the Eden there is a nefesh olakis, a godly neshama. And that puts him on a pedestal, above and beyond all creation. He's a godly presence. And how can a human being have a godly presence? There's only one God. What's the answer?
I wish they gave him the neshama. No?
It's constantly being given to him. If he thinks he's got something of his own, down the drain. He's putting God into the toilet. He's encountering is godly in the sense that he senses the principal truth of godliness, and this is what he is drawn to. The neshama is constantly drawn upwards to its source. What does it need a source? It has itself.
Rabbi Paltiel?
Baruch, just 1 second. I was learning Rambam. It so happens I learned Rambam this morning. And the Rambam now is beginning Hilchos Tzitzis. In Hilchos Tzitzis there is a principle of Tasav Lo Min Hos. Tasav Lo Min Hos means that when you make tzitzis, you have to start from scratch and put the tzitzis into the garment. You can't take a little piece of garment in which tzitzis were already fastened, and then you take that piece and attach it to your garment. It has to be Tasav Lo Min Hos. You have to make it new, not use something that's already there from before. So I was just reflecting as I was learning it. Tasav Lo Min Hos has a profound message. Because when you say Min Ha'osri, it's already there, that means you're taking it from the world. You don't take mitzvahs from the world, you take mitzvahs from the Meirshah. The Eibusher is putting on tzitzis on you, so that you are putting the tzitzis in, and the Eibusher is giving you the opportunity to put the tzitzis in and make it tzitzis. You take something that already exists in the world and put it into tzitzis. That's not, you're dissociating from the source. Just occurred to me, and now that we're talking about this, I thought that this is a good illustration of the principle. There is nothing that we possess on our own. On the other hand, we possess everything, if we are recipients. Sechel itself, as we speak all the time, is a recipient from Rotzen and Nirmagam from the Nefesh, which is a godly input all the time. Yes, Baruch.
I'm sorry, the technical. Are you calling flowing, you're flowing today or someone else is flowing, because the quality is very difficult to hear.
All right, you know what? We'll compete with Yeshem Innocent's phone.
We're going to go to a different phone bar.
You're going to a different phone.
Okay?
I'm just hanging on.
Okay, just one
Hanging
sec.
both right.
Just one sec.
I'm going
It's
to hang up
coming
on
on.
this phone.
Okay.
I forgot to put mine on. Abba Paltiel. All right, is this better?
That is way, way
What?
Way, way better.
Way better. Okay, Shlomi Innocent, I win.
All right. That's for sure. No compete.
I don't even understand the question you're asking at the moment.
What?
He doesn't understand it.
But that's what I mean also. Which question you talking?
Now, what's the question you're asking right now and answering?
Well, I asked.
We're answering Reuven's question.
Reuben's question was, why do we say Gilui Oyer Ha'atzmi? Why not Atzmus itself?
Okay.
So I explained this principle. We have to always, in the world, the tendency is always to be able to grasp it in your hand. And then you have the real thing. And the truth is, if you grasp it in your hand, you have the real thing, you have absolutely nothing. Sechel itself, yes, there's a certain point in sechel that you can grasp. You have chokhmah and bina, but it has to be understood. How does chokhmah have its truth? What's the answer?
Comes from Hashem.
It's true. It is nothing. Clear channel.
By beetle. Chokhmah doesn't have anything of its own. Like sight. And then the idiots are trying to explain sight. Well, sight is only with beetle. You see what you see. Okay. Vayemer Hashem al Abram, lech lecha miyatzecha. Okay, this is the next parsha in the Torah. After Noach comes lech lecha. When Abram came onto the scene, and Abram was told, lech lecha, this is the first mitzvah mentioned in the Torah about Abram. Abram had many other communications with the Meibashin before that, but this is the first one that's actually mentioned in Torah. Lech lecha me'atzecha. You should leave your land. Tzorich lahavin. You need to understand mahu inyan lech lecha. Go unto you. It would appear more appropriate the word miyusa lecha, the lecha is extra, it's unnecessary. Should have said just leave your clean land. Gam. Also, Mahu Hoarichus, what is this lengthy description that you have to leave? You have to leave your land, and you have to leave your birthplace.
Check my cameras around.
You have to leave your father's home. What is so significant? The place that he is leaving, go to the land, because that is the principal command. You go to the land. What is it? What is the emphasis in such a lengthy description? What you are leaving behind? Then also we need to understand what he says afterwards. And I will increase your name. I'll make your name great. What is the great promise to Avraham? That he is going to have a great name relative to Avraham. Avraham, who was of the quality of beetle, betachlis, of the extreme beetle, total beetle. He had no personal view of himself as an entity. Ukmeisha, of course, when the pasuk says, "Ve'anechi ofar va'efer," I am dust and ashes. V'yaderabo, on the contrary, the lechoiro ein ze milo, the nagat shmo. This is not a mile at all. This is not anything praiseworthy. Because as in Mishnah says, nagat shmo avat shmei, that if he begins to build up his name, avat shmei, then Rahman Islam comes to destruction. Thus, what is the significance of this promise that Hashem gave to Avraham, that Gadlo Shmecha, I will make great your name. To understand all of these principles here, we need to revisit what we already explained before. Being in the Shomesh of Malachim, understanding the Shomesh and distinction between Shomesh and Malachim. Yeshavos HaMalachim Hu Mechinas Zivu Gruchni. The Malachim are the result of Zivu Gruchni, a spiritual joining. The Avo of Avo. Shu Bechinas Hashpach Hitzeinis. Zivu Gruchni represents a Hashpach Hitzeinis, an external Hashpach. Bechinas Ha'ora Levad, which is only Ha'ora. If you have a Hashpach Hitzeinis, the two entities remain separate entities, and there is Hashpach of one to the other. So the only Hashpach that could be that there is a Ha'ora. There is an allusion to the Inyan, but not the Yatzim Inyan. There is Havas HaNeshomes, and the coming for the creation of Neshomes, whom V'china Zivu Gufni, the Zun. They are from the aspect of Zivu Gufni, what's called Zivu Gufni, a bodily joining. That is represented by Zun. Shu B'chinas Hashpah Pnimis. And this joining is the aspect of Hashpah or Pnimis, of an internal Hashpah. This is not an Hashpah Chitzonis, is not an external transmission. This is something that joins two entities on an essential level. The B'chinas Pnimis v'Yatzmus Ein Sof. This type of joining is possible only by the effect of Pnimis v'Yatzmus Ein Sof, of the internal and the essential aspect of Ein Sof. Just to give us a little bit of an understanding of the expression, Pnimis v'Yatzmus Ein Sof. The Hashpah Chitzonis says Ha'ora means that there is a means by which the Ein Sof can be identified, can be described. What does this do for you? What does it give you? This is what's called Chitzonis. This is called Ha'ora, the effect of something. What will happen if you have this Hashpah? Or this is what's going to happen. This is Chetzonius. Pnimis v'atzmos yesod means what this oil is unto itself, totally disinterested and not involved in affecting its presence on something else. What is its reality unto itself? And when this reality, the internal, its initial reality, comes it comes into a zivug, then it's a completely different creation. Neshames, they are the result of zivug gufni, which entails and is the result of the effect of pnimis v'atzmos ein sof. And therefore neshames are in different qualities. And therefore the hamshocha of oires atzmiyim, of oires that are not just functional oires, but oires that represent an etzem, atzmi, as essence, who alidei hamshomes davko, that can only be to the neshomes.
I think I missed the point that you were trying to bring out just before, like you're saying something about the yeah.
I'm pointing out that in everything there is how something is being observed. What is the effect of that presence? And what is the presence itself unto itself?
Is the presence unto itself.
It's truth unto itself. He always asks a question. He always asks a question rhetorically, because we really do not have an understanding of the answer. But we know that this is a rhetorical question which is really which is out of place. And the question that we ask is, what was God doing before He created the world?
What?
It must have been bored stiff. And as I said, this question is out of context completely. And but we ask this question because that's the only thing we know. Functional, the relation, and active participation. We don't understand in our sechel. We can't even comprehend what it means, a reality that is completely self-fulfilling, totally. It hasn't been that is the. It says, Ilas kol ilas, and it says, Ilas kol is the cause of all causes. He himself does not have any cause. And thank you very much. And thus the creation represents his pure desire. He said that Nisava HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael B'Tachteni. Nisava. It's an expression from the Alter Rebbe. But why did the Rebbe create the world? He said because Nisava is the nation. We want to say Nisava HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. It's a medrash. So Nisava HaKadosh Baruch Hu desired, had a taiva to create the world. To Yisrael B'Tachteni. Why does he need taiva? So the Alter Rebbe says, if a taiva, you cannot say chash. A taiva is beyond taiva. It's beyond question, beyond the reason. That's it. The way, if you want to express something real, you can use it as a taiva. So the best way we can describe it, we can refer to it in Sava Kodesh Baruch Hu. This is called Pnimis V'Atzmos. In the creation, maybe we should not create something which has no significance. She didn't create, this wasn't a chess game. He created something that would present his truth. What was the point of that? What was the purpose of that? That he should be recognized betachtenim. But what should be recognized betachtenim? Dira betachtenim, as Chassidus explains. Dira means that the whole human being is present in the dira. They say dira is not, as we explain all the time, dira is not a functional presence. It's an essential presence. To the extent that Odom Shein Lebayis, Ein Odom. In other words, he puts himself completely into it, his whole self. This is the expression, Pnimis v'yatzmus. Pnimis means the essential reality, as he is unto himself. And this is where the Neshamas are rooted, this is where the Neshamas are drawn from. And therefore the Neshamas have an Atzmius presence, an Atzmius truth. And that's why the world was created, because of the Neshamas. Okay, we're starting, I'm just repeating this last word. And therefore, as we explained in the previous mind, the hamshoch of oiros atzmiyim, the bringing down oiros atzmiyim, meaning oiros that are fully representative of the presence of the Yesod, not oiros that consist of any kind of a functional message. But the Etzem truth, who alidei haneshomes dafki, that it can only be to the neshomes. Why neshomes are able to accomplish it? The rejoice and mebichinas asmus and soy boru, because that the fact that they are of that ilk, of that quality, asmus and soy, al kein biyichoilto. This is why it is within their capacity. Laham shebechinas eires atzmi. To draw this beginning is an aspect of Oiras Atzmi. Oiras Atzmi means that the Neshamas can bring into the world the sense that yes, indeed, there's a godly presence in the world. Oiras Atzmi. Not the presence of goodness and kindness and a godly presence, an absolute truth. This is why we in the world can speak in terms of eternity. World and eternity are really two totally different concepts. Yet we can talk about eternity, because of Shomesh Yisrael and the Torah, we have this concept, even in the world, the concept of eternity, of infinity. This is not a worldly concept. Okay, now we're going further. Based on this, what we have learned, just now brought down from the previous mind, the special depth and truth of the Neshamas. With this we can understand Madisa Bezoya Pashas Bolog, Daf Kuf Aleph on the Beis. That which Zoya brings down in Pashas Bolog. Daf Kuf Tzadik Omer Beis. The Maimar HaYinuka. This is part of something that a Yinuka, that a child said. Being in Mailas HaNeshomes, regarding the Maila of Neshomes. The Zohar speaks about the Yinuka in general. the principle over there, the Yinuka, this child, was that in days of Rashbi, in days of Rashbi had effect on the world to represent the way the world would be in the future days. The whole world was in a different status then. And just as it says in the future, that every child is going to be a Novi, days of Rashbi, there were children that said, the deepest thing of Nunisatei. So this Maimar Hayinuka was recorded in the Seir. And one of the things that's being quoted in Tanya also is that Hayinuka order is historically inherited in Shmosim of Achinley. This is all from the Hayinuka. So when the Hayinuka speaks about Malas and Shomas, the Amiras Kodesh, so he says over there that Amiras Kodesh, to refer to praise Hashem with the word Kodesh, Shayach Linshomes Dafka, Leila Maloch. That is appropriate to Nishomes only, not to Maloch. Meaning, the inference is that only Nishomes conceptualize, are capable of relating and conceptualize this principle of Kodesh. Malochim are not capable of really reaching into that concept. Yeah.
Whatever. So, whenever it's this Yanuka, it's not necessarily the same Yanuka talking in all these places,
It's hard to know.
But the reference to Tanya is the same thing as he's saying over here, basically.
Maimar Inuka doesn't say it could be many different Inukas. They were recorded under different circumstances. They were in this inn and this inn, and the Inuka started talking. We don't know it's all the same inn or a different inn.
Okay.
The Yunuk is an infant?
A young child. Relative to saying Pnimis Atera, he's a Yenuka, he's like a suckling baby.
Angels have no concept of Kedusha?
Huh?
Angels don't understand how the concept of Kedusha?
You have to have the concept to wait to develop the whole thing. So he says, Malachim cannot say Kodesh. Only the Neshomas. The Hagam, the Malachim oimnim. Although the Malachim say Gamkin Kodesh, Malachim also say Kodesh. Say three kinds of Kodesh, by the way, as a matter of fact. Oimer Shom. Yet the Zohar says there that Kodesh Kodesh was not relegated to them by themselves. They cannot say it on their own. Kiyim behadu Yisrael. Only together with Yisrael. They can say Kodesh, they can express the infant Kodesh along with Eden, because Eden gives us that inspiration, that strength. The Malachim lo mekachin li'elo ad Yisrael mekachin le'sata. Malachim l'maylo cannot express Kedushas Hashem until Yisrael asay mekachin Kedusha l'mata. V'kahu gamkin b'gemora chuli. And the similar in is bodan the Gemara in chuli. The Malachei Hashores mamtinim loymar shira. That Malachim wait with saying shira ache Yisrael oimim chila, until that Yisrael say shirot first. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, V'ron yachad koichli baker. V'hoda v'yuri b'nei ha'elikim. V'ron yachad koichli baker. That first there is the koichli baker. There is the morning stars. That this is coming from the world, and then v'yuri b'nei ha'elikim refers to the Malach. Aval Baruch, but Baruch is Masar Lahu Malach. Baruch Malachim also have a relationship to, and they can do it on their own. The Kumad is Masar Yisrael, the same way as it was given over to Yisrael. Now we need to understand this clearly. Why is saying Kodesh? This is something which was relegated to the Neshamis only. Malachim can say it also, but only together with Yisrael. Baruch, on the other hand, Baruch Ismus Eloheim Bilchudai. Baruch was given to them individually by themselves. I don't know this Rosh Hashanah. I believe it's in a abba. Normally in the Zohar it's in a abba. Moisif Shom, he adds another point. The Baruch, Yesh, Hefresh, by Malachim in Shomis. That in Baruch, there's a difference between Malachim, even in Baruch, there's a difference between Malachim and Shomis. The Gav, Malachim, because by Malachim, Ksiv, it says, Baruch Hashem Malach. That the Malachim are saying Baruch are saying Baruch to Hashem. Baruch Hashem Malach. Shemevorchim Shem Havaya Atzmei. They mevorch the Shem Havaya. Gabe Yisrael Ksiv Baruch Nafshi Es Havaya. The Malachim are mevorch Es Havaya directly. The Shem Havaya. By Shomit itself Baruch Nafshi Es Havaya. That Nafshi is mevorich has Havaya. What's es Havaya? She'ein mevorchim Shem Havaya Atzmei. The Shom is not addressed directly to Shem Havaya. Kim es hatofel Havaya. Es means that which is secondary. Nafshi es Havaya, which means Neshomis are in this case on a lower madrega than Malachim. Malachim are reaching up to Shem Havaya itself. And the Neshomis are only as Hatofel Havaya, that which is secondary Havaya. So again, it would seem to be very perplexing. Kodesh, since that Kodesh is higher than Baruch, yet still Bechinas Kodesh and Shomis that. The Kodesh, that is exclusively for the Shomis. But Baruch HaMalachim Mevorchim Shem Havaya Atzmei. But Baruch, the Malachim reach up to a high madrega, Shem Havaya Atzmei. And the Shomis Rab Bechinas as Hatofel. And Shomis can reach only to S Havaya, which is Tofel to Havaya, which is introducing Havaya, but not Havaya itself. And thus we need to understand the whole principle Inyan Kodesh U'Baruch. The whole principle of Kodesh U'Baruch.
This is all referring to different inyanim in the davening, or is it a more general phenomenon?
I don't see the difference.
In other words, the time that you're saying Kodesh is the time we're saying in the davening is Kodesh.
Right.
So what is Shira referred to? That is Zimra?
What?
Zimra is Zimra?
I'm sorry.
Shira is Pirkei de Zimra.
Yeah, in other words, he's talking about three things: Kodesh, Baruch, and Shira.
Malachim say Shira.
So which Shira are we talking about there? The
Malachim, when we daven, they say Shira.
Uh-huh. And Baruch Inaf?
What?
Baruch Inaf, referring to over here. Baruch Inaf,
This is when even some Mevorach are davening. In davening you also Mevorach as Hashem.
They also Baruch, right?
What?
The distinction between them and us, we say Baruch Inaf, Baruch Inaf, Havaya, and what is, and they say
Baruch Hashem Malachim. That they are Mevorach as Hashem directly. Tzorich lahavin inyan kodesh u'baruch. So now we need to examine and understand the whole principle of kodesh u'baruch. Hine yodua, so we'll just make a first step in. Hine yodua, it is known the bracha hu hamshocha min hahelem al hagilus. The principle of bracha is to be mamshich, is to draw from a higher source, which is in a state of helem that cannot be observed from a worldly status. El hagilu, to draw it to be expressed begilus. This is the principle of bracha. Okay, this is going to be discussed a little bit over here. I just want to, because we're going to interrupt now, that Baruch, the Indian from bracha in general means that this is why sometimes you ask the Rebbe and he gives you a bracha and sometimes he does not. Because the bracha, it's easy to say a bracha, but in order to that the bracha should have any basis, he has to see that in your source there is that inyan, and therefore he can be mamsheh that this inyan should be misgalab, should come into gil. But if there isn't in the source, if you are destined in Milo to have this inyan, there's no point in giving a bracha. A bracha means to be mamsheh from the source. This is what we're saying over here. Not in the form of his chachus. A bracha does not create a new presence, even on the source. Only to bring it from a concealed state, unexpressed state, from the way it is contained in essence, el hagilu, to be expressed and to come into function and functional state. All right, this is it for this morning. And Mazel tov.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, have a great day.
All right.